The UN Security Council has met to discuss what humanitarian officials call the horrific situation in Aleppo. The members of the group met behind closed doors in New York. At least 2 million people are under constant fear as Aleppo is besieged by all sides in Syria. The council was briefed by Stephen Rothwell O'Brien. He's the UN's Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief, and he joins me now from New York. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. O'Brien. Now, more than 2 million people are besieged in the city of Aleppo. Hospitals and clinics are being bombed. The city's electric as well as water infrastructure are severely damaged. What can the UN do to help the people in the city?
Well, the UN is absolutely ready to be able to step up and to provide the necessary life-saving and protection of civilians. We have the people ready and waiting. We are able to load the trucks. We can get in, but we can't do that without safe, unimpeded access to get to all the people in need, whether that's in eastern Aleppo or western Aleppo. The situation now in Aleppo is so serious, whether for the 250 to 275,000 people in eastern Aleppo and well over 1 million in western Aleppo, where the routes are closed because of security and fighting and violence. We have a plan. We have a consent to that plan, even from the government of Syria. But because of the security situation, we are not able to get through. So we are demanding, after making clear what's going on, the needs are so great, both for life-saving, we need to be able to bring people out for evacuation, for medical emergencies, as well as to get food, water, shelter, medicines and treatments in, and to make sure that we are able to protect the civilians from the continuous shelling from the air and on land, which has absolutely plagued the people in Aleppo now, not only for years and months, but particularly over recent weeks and days. And now is the time that we need a pause, at minimum a 48-hour weekly pause, so we can get safe help and relief to the people who've suffered far too long and far too much in Aleppo.
You say now is the time, and you've told the council that we must all be gravely concerned for the safety, health, and protection of those terrified civilians. So why is it so difficult to strike a deal?
Well, of course, it requires the clear unanimity at the political level, but in order to have safe, unimpeded access, the parties to the violence, the parties to the fighting, have to make sure the guns stop firing. You can't ask very brave, committed, dedicated UN and humanitarian partner workers to go on their very brave missions. They're brave and courageous, yes, but they are not suicidal. We need the clear opportunity to get in by the routes which, because of the increase in fighting in Aleppo, we've found that the main route in that has come from the supply cross-border from Turkey over recent times towards the part in eastern Aleppo known as the Castello Road, that is now effectively closed and not able to be used. There's now one that supplies all the way up from the south, goes round the east, comes back through the north to supply western Aleppo. We managed to get through the WFP 12 convoys through over the last 24 hours, but it's nowhere near enough, and it's far, far too dangerous for anything that could be either sustainable or consistent. So that's why we've been calling for the cessation of hostilities. That's the best answer to all the humanitarian needs, so we can get in and get through. But above all, if that's not possible, we need to get the parties to agree to a 48-hour and a weekly pause so we can get our help in.
So a cessation of hostilities is needed. I'm wondering how much food is left, how much water is left in the city. Children are particularly vulnerable here. What are some of the risks they face?
Well, we are getting very clear and well-informed reports that not only are the water supplies very acutely short. We've seen some of the infrastructure, which has also been subject to the shelling and the bombing, which has now been broken, not able to be switched on. We need the engineers and some technology to recover that. But some is getting through, but the trucking of water is nowhere near enough to meet the needs. So yes, we're getting certainly some information which would say that there's a water shortage. We know that there have been electricity outages, and therefore there's a very severe shortage of electricity. And We know that there is a need for food. We've got deep food insecurity. We know that what food that is in the markets and the shops has been rushing off the shelves. And we know that the prices have escalated way beyond what those who have already suffered far too much and have lost all already are able even to access, let alone afford.
All right, Mr. Undersecretary General, we thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World.